There comes a moment in every life when you realize something painful. Some people were never drowning. They were just comfortable watching you exhaust yourself trying to save them. You gave your time, your energy, your loyalty, your forgiveness. You fought battles that were never yours, carried pain that did not belong to you, and kept bleeding quietly just so others could feel safe. But here is the truth most people discover too late. If you keep fighting for everyone, one day you will have nothing left to fight for yourself. Hello everyone, welcome to the Stoic Hypnosis channel. In this video, we are going to talk about why you must stop sacrificing your soul for people who would not even protect your peace. You will learn how to reclaim your strength, rebuild your boundaries, and finally understand that the most important battle of your life is not saving everyone else. It is saving yourself. Now, let's get started. Part 1. The most dangerous habit. Living for everyone else. One of the greatest tragedies in life is not failure. It is spending years becoming everything for everyone, while slowly becoming a stranger to yourself. Many people believe that being selfless is a virtue. They say, always be there for others. Never give up on the people you love. A good person sacrifices. At first those words sound noble, but life has a cruel way of testing every belief. You answer every late-night phone call. You solve problems that are not yours. You forgive the same betrayal over and over again. You become the shoulder everyone cries on, the person everyone depends on, the one who always says, "It's okay." And little by little, something inside you begins to disappear. Not because people are evil, but because most people naturally become comfortable receiving what you continually give without limits. The sad truth is that very few will stop and ask whether you are tired. Fewer still will notice that you are breaking apart behind your calm smile. You keep telling yourself that one more sacrifice will finally make people appreciate you. It won't. Respect is rarely earned through endless sacrifice. More often, it is lost there. When you constantly place everyone else's needs above your own, you silently teach the world that your time, your energy, and even your peace have little value. And people usually believe the value you assign to yourself. Stoic philosophers understood something that many of us spend decades learning. Your life is not a public resource. Your mind is not a battlefield where everyone else gets to wage their wars. Your heart is not a shelter for every storm that passes through. There comes a day when you must ask a question that is uncomfortable but necessary. If I continue living like this for another 10 years, who will I become? Because every battle you choose has a cost. And perhaps the most expensive battle is the one you never should have fought in the first place. Part 2. The day you stop chasing, everything begins to change. There is a quiet power that most people never discover. It is not the power to convince. It is not the power to control. It is not even the power to win every argument. It is the power to walk away without feeling guilty. For years, you may have believed that love had to be earned, that respect had to be chased, that if you just gave a little more, cared a little deeper, or tried a little harder, people would finally recognize your worth. But life has a way of exposing painful illusions. The people who truly value you rarely demand that you constantly prove yourself. It is usually those who benefit from your endless giving who expect the most. The moment you stop explaining yourself, stop begging to be understood, and stop trying to rescue everyone from the consequences of their own choices, something unexpected happens. The noise begins to fade. You start seeing people for who they really are, not for who you hoped they would become. Some disappear. Some become angry. Some accuse you of changing. And they are right. You have changed, because you finally understand that protecting your peace is not selfish. It is survival. Marcus Aurelius once reminded himself that you cannot control the minds of others, only the condition of your own character. Most suffering begins the moment we try to manage lives that were never ours to manage. You cannot heal someone who refuses to change. You cannot save someone who enjoys being rescued. And you cannot build a peaceful life while carrying the emotional weight of everyone around you. Real strength is not measured by how much you can endure. It is measured by what you finally decide to stop carrying. The strongest people are not those who never feel compassion. They are the ones wise enough to know where compassion ends and self-destruction begins. The day you stop chasing everyone's approval is the day your own life quietly starts returning to you. And once you experience that freedom, you will wonder why you spent so many years asking permission to become yourself. Before we continue, take a moment to ask yourself one honest question. How many battles are you still fighting, simply because you are afraid of disappointing someone else? If this message is speaking to a part of you that has been exhausted for years, let that be your first sign that change is possible. And if you're finding value in these timeless lessons on strength, self-respect, and Stoic wisdom, subscribe to the channel and join thousands of others who are choosing to build a calmer mind and a stronger life, one lesson at a time. Now, let's continue, because the hardest truth is still ahead. Part 3. The hardest. Battle is against the person you used to be. The greatest enemy you will ever face is not the person who betrayed you. It is not the one who underestimated you. It is not even the one who walked away without looking back. The hardest battle is against the version of yourself that still believes your worth depends on being needed. That version of you is familiar. It apologizes when it has done nothing wrong. It says yes when every part of its soul is screaming no. It stays in one-sided relationships because loneliness feels less frightening than rejection. It keeps giving chance after chance, hoping that one day kindness will finally be returned. But life rarely works that way. People often become accustomed to what you repeatedly tolerate. When you teach others that your boundaries are negotiable, they begin to treat them as if they do not exist. And the most painful part is this. You may spend years believing that other people are the reason you feel trapped, only to realize that the prison door has been unlocked all along. The lock was never on the outside. It was inside your own mind. It was the fear of being disliked, the fear of being misunderstood, the fear of being called selfish for choosing yourself. Those fears quietly shape your life until they become invisible. You stop asking what you truly want. Instead, you ask what will make everyone else comfortable. And without noticing, you begin living a life that earns approval, but never brings peace. The Stoics understood that freedom is not granted by the world. It is created within. No one can imprison a person who has learned to govern their own mind. No insult has power over someone who no longer seeks validation. No rejection can destroy a person who has already accepted themselves. That is why your greatest victory will never be changing other people. It will be changing the conversation you have with yourself. The day you stop measuring your value by how useful you are to others. You begin measuring it by how honestly you live. And that is the moment your life starts belonging to you again. Not because the world has changed, but because you finally have. Part 4. Not every battle deserves your strength. There is a lesson that life whispers to us over and over again, but most people are too exhausted to hear it. You do not have to fight every misunderstanding. You do not have to defend yourself against every opinion. You do not have to win every argument just to prove your worth. In fact, some battles are designed to steal something far more valuable than your time. They steal your peace. Think about how much of your life has been spent trying to convince people who had already made up their minds, trying to explain your intentions to those committed to misunderstanding you, trying to earn respect from people who only noticed your value when you stopped giving it away. Every one of those battles demanded a price, a little more patience, a little more hope, a little more emotional strength, until one day you looked in the mirror and realized you were tired for reasons you could no longer explain. This is why the Stoics practiced restraint, not because they were indifferent, but because they understood that attention is one of the most valuable forms of energy a human being possesses. Where your attention goes, your life quietly follows. If you waste it on resentment, resentment becomes your home. If you waste it on people who thrive on conflict, conflict becomes your daily companion. If you waste it trying to fix everyone around you, you slowly neglect the one person who has needed your care all along, yourself. Imagine carrying a bucket of water through a desert. Every unnecessary argument punches another hole in that bucket. Every attempt to please someone who cannot be pleased lets more water escape. Every sleepless night spent replaying conversations leaves you with less strength for tomorrow. Eventually, the bucket is empty. Not because life was unfair, but because you kept pouring yourself into places where nothing could grow. Wisdom is learning to seal those holes. Sometimes the strongest response is silence. Sometimes the greatest victory is walking away without the final word. Sometimes protecting your peace requires disappointing people who have become comfortable living at the expense of your kindness. Remember this: your energy is limited. Your time is finite. Your life is not measured by how many battles you survived. It is measured by how wisely you chose them. Because every moment you stop fighting meaningless wars is another moment you can invest in becoming the person you were always capable of becoming. And that is a battle worthy of your entire heart. Part 5. Fight for the life you were meant to live. One day, whether you are ready or not, life will ask you a question that no one else can answer for you. When everything is over, whose life did you actually live? Did you spend it becoming the person everyone expected? Or did you become the person your soul was quietly asking you to be? That question becomes heavier with age, because time has a strange way of removing every illusion. The opinions that once kept you awake at night slowly disappear. The people you sacrificed so much for begin living their own lives. Some will forget what you did for them. Some will never know the price you paid. And some will remember your kindness only when they need something again. That realization can feel painful, but it can also be incredibly liberating, because it reminds you of something you should never have forgotten. Your life was never meant to be spent collecting approval. It was meant to be lived with purpose. There is nothing noble about abandoning yourself in order to keep everyone else comfortable. There is no honor in carrying burdens that were never yours, and there is no wisdom in sacrificing your future to protect people who refuse to take responsibility for their own lives. Real courage begins the moment you stop asking, "How can I make everyone happy?" and start asking, "What kind of person do I want to become?" That single question changes everything. It changes the way you spend your mornings, the conversations you allow into your life, the relationships you choose to protect, the dreams you finally decide to pursue instead of postponing for another year. Little by little, your life begins to feel lighter. Not because your problems disappear, but because you stop carrying problems that do not belong to you. You discover a quiet confidence. You no longer need to explain every decision. You no longer panic when someone misunderstands you. You no longer fear walking away from people who only valued your usefulness. Because you have learned one of life's rarest lessons. Peace is more valuable than approval. Self-respect is more valuable than popularity. Inner freedom is more valuable than winning every battle. The Stoics believed that every sunrise offers you another opportunity to govern your own mind instead of surrendering it to the world. That opportunity still exists today, not tomorrow, not when everyone finally understands you. Today. So stop wasting your strength trying to save those who refuse to save themselves. Stop fighting wars that only leave your spirit wounded. Stop searching for permission to become the person you were always capable of being. Turn your energy inward. Strengthen your character. Protect your peace. Honor your time. Build a life that reflects your values rather than other people's expectations. Because the most important battle you will ever fight is not for recognition, is not for acceptance, is not for applause. It is the battle to become the strongest, wisest, and most authentic version of yourself. And once you win that battle, no one can ever take that victory away from you. Conclusion. The greatest battle you will ever fight is not against the world. It is against the habit of abandoning yourself to satisfy everyone else. People will come and go. Opinions will change. Expectations will never end. But the relationship you have with yourself will remain for the rest of your life. So choose wisely where you invest your time, your energy, and your heart. The moment you stop fighting for everyone's approval is the moment you finally begin building a life that belongs to you. Because in the end, the strongest person is not the one who saves everyone. It is the one who refuses to lose themselves while trying. If there is one lesson to remember from today's video, let it be this. Protect your peace as fiercely as you once protected other people's happiness. Set healthy boundaries without guilt. Learn to say no without feeling ashamed. Spend your energy on becoming wiser, stronger, and more disciplined instead of trying to be accepted by everyone. Start with one small decision today. Walk away from one unnecessary argument. Say no to one request that drains your spirit. Spend one quiet hour investing in your own growth. Small choices, repeated consistently, create extraordinary lives. If this message resonated with you and reminded you of your own worth, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and join us on this journey of Stoic wisdom, inner strength, and personal growth. Together, we'll continue exploring timeless lessons that help us build calmer minds, stronger character, and lives guided by purpose, not by the opinions of others. Thank you for taking the time to watch until the end of the video. See you in the next videos.